Hey folks, welcome to episode 189 of Geeking Out. We are back with our normal everyday reviews. Leila's going to do her Marvel DC and everything in between.
I'm still reading
and I'm
Marvel.
going to do pretty much all my alternative stuff because I never want to touch a Marvel book again.
Until next
5
Marvel
weeks
in
was
March.
5 weeks of that was too much. Anyway, we're going to start off with a little something different today in that both of us are going to talk about the first issue of Fairest.
Yes.
Because
I didn't review that.
No, you didn't. But let's talk about it a bit anyway. I'll start off with a bit of the backstory. And basically what happens in this one is the Prince of Thieves, Ali Baba, releases a bottle imp which promises to lead him to the greatest treasure he could imagine. But first, he must awaken a fair maiden with true love's first kiss. Problem is, there are 2 fair maidens.
One.
So, yeah, this is, of course, from the Fables universe.
Yep.
And the art is simply gorgeous in this book.
Yes.
That's 2 of the big pluses in this.
Yes.
The writing's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's Willingham.
It's Willingham. It's really good writing. It's just, where are the women?
Yeah, when I first read it, I was like, where are the, this is supposed to be, the series, unlike Fables, or it's supposed to be, mostly about women, even though there's a lot of women in the Fables stories. I don't want to say there's not. But this was supposed to be, the one with girl power, and I was like, where are the girls?
And they don't show up until the last 2 pages. And they're asleep. So, it's not that it's a bad book. It is simply gorgeous. It is beautiful to look at. It's got a fun story with it.
Yes.
You'll laugh at a few things that the bottle imp says. I mean, there's a lot of really good things to like about this.
Jonah is his name.
Yes, Jonah. And there's a lot of really funny references as well.
Yeah.
And it works overall. Where are the women?
Yes. So we looked into Fairest number 2 to find out, are the women in this one. So in this issue, Ali Baba and Jonah and Missy Briar, which is one of the 2 women that he woke up because he kissed both of them just to make sure.
Yeah.
So, so they both wake up. So, she's on the run with Ali Baba and the genie. And after awakening from her cursed sleep, Missy and her saviors are attacked by goblins.
Hooray, goblins!
Yes, only to be saved by the Snow Queen, who was the other girl who was there who woke up. Yep. And she lets them escape while she exacts revenge on the goblins. But then her attention turns back to the woman who put her to sleep for years, the woman she was sleeping beside. So while in hiding, Jonah relates Missy Briar's unknown past to her. So this got very interesting, obviously. Lots of stuff happens here. Again,
complex.
Yes, beautiful art by Jimenez, and Willingham's really starting to reveal more of these characters, which I was excited about. And we're starting to see some of their strong female characteristics and how they're not pushovers,
Good.
So I thought that was kind of cool. And, I'm liking Fairest so far. If you're a fan of Fables, I don't know why you wouldn't be reading this anyway. But if you haven't given it a try, I would think that we can both say that it's worth,
It's definitely worth your reading.
Yeah, it's worth your read.
Next up, we have Avatar, The Last Airbender, The Promise, Volume 1. And in this one, Aang goes to a Fire Nation colony in the heart of the Earth Nation where tensions threaten to shatter the world's newfound peace, putting Aang on a collision course with his friend, Fire Lord Zuko. Now, anyone who knows Avatar The Last Airbender knows how good that series is.
And how terrible that movie was.
And how terrible the live-action movie was, yes. Less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
But this is a continuation from where the original series left off and leads into the new series, The Legend of Korra, which starts in a couple weeks on Nickelodeon. And I've already seen the first 2 episodes, and they are simply wonderful.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Oh, so good. So good.
Okay, good.
Now, they don't officially air for another 3 weeks, but hey, I have connections.
Yeah.
But, a lot of fun for these new shows, and this is the story that leads into that. You get to learn the history of what happened to these characters after the series ended, who ended up with who, etc., etc. Some great comedy, some beautiful art. It's all co-produced with the original creators of the series, so it's in actual continuity. Everything that gets mentioned in here is going to come up later on in the Legend of Korra. So yeah, buy this book if you're an Avatar fan. It is simply worth it and a lot of fun.
Okay, so next up, this is a personal favorite of mine. This is Fatale number 4. So just catching you up, previously the mysterious Josephine is a seemingly ageless woman who has power over men. She just seems to be able to make them do what she wants. And sometimes not on purpose. Sometimes she doesn't control it so well.
I know a lot of women like that.
Yes. So, what you talking about? So on the run from a strange past, Joe enlists the help of reporter Hank Raines to help her escape, and his wife gets caught in the crossfire. So in this issue, a mysterious man in glasses, who we can see on the front, proposes a partnership with the cutthroat mobster Mayday Lucarelli. And the police question Hank for hours about his wife's grisly murder, because of course you gotta ask the husband first, right?
Yep.
And Josephine confronts Walter about the deal he made with the devil, and we learn about his haunted past. And Hank is finally released by the police, only to find himself being questioned by a mysterious robed man. I love it! I love this series. I was talking about it earlier.
It's a really good crime noir series.
Yes.
It's simply beautiful art, I'd have to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
Great art by Phillips, and like I might have a bit of a bias because I love Ed Brubaker and almost anything that he writes.
Yep.
But this is again a crime noir thing. It has supernatural elements, great art, great story. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like Sin City, but without some of like the stuff that's not cool about it. I don't know. It's kind of like that for me. I just really love this series, and if you're not reading it, you really should. And if you're a fan of Criminal, you know about these guys and how well they work together, and I love this book. Pick it up.
Next up, we have Honey Badger number 1.
Woo!
Yes. So, what is this story about? Well, have you heard of the honey badger?
Yes.
Okay. It is the most fearless creature on Earth, and it will face off against everything, because it's a honey badger, and it's badass.
Yeah, I love the alternate cover on the back, where it's Honey Badger versus ninjas.
Yes, honey badgers versus ninjas.
But the ode to the Action Comics number 1 on the front, hilarious.
Yep, but this one is written and drawn by Fred Perry, and is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Of course, this is basically based off the honey badger meme that started a couple years back.
Yep.
And, well, that was hilarious too, but this goes all out in showing just how badass the honey badger is. Now, good luck trying to find this book. It sold out in a day.
Oh, wow.
So, this was a lot of fun. It's a good laugh. If you're a fan of the meme online, then you're probably going to enjoy this. It's kind of silly and fun and not at all serious, which is exactly what it needs to be. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself with this and had a good couple laughs at it. So if you get a chance to check it out, please do. It's pretty fun.
Okay, next up I've got Avengers vs. X-Men number 1. Now,
50 million.
Yes. So this past Tuesday, a lot of comic book stores did the early release party, the launch party for this book.
Why weren't you here?
Yeah, so, I mean, we did have a fair number of people, so that's pretty cool. But this is what we were all waiting for. So in this issue, Nova arrives bruised and beaten to deliver a message. It's coming. And the Avengers track the Phoenix Force signature and its imminent arrival. Meanwhile, Scott trains Hope, preparing her for what is coming, and he's not too gentle about it, because he's Scott. And
he's a douche.
I didn't say it. Cap approaches Wolverine for help, but will he and the school side with the Avengers or stay out of the fray? And when Cap goes to Utopia, he has to start aggressive negotiations with Scott and the X-Men. So this is a great issue. Bendis masterfully builds the tension leading to the final pages. Like, it's just, like, one thing after another, getting to, like, the big, thing at the end. And Romita Jr.'s art leaps off the page. And what I particularly like about his artwork, especially here, is the expressiveness of his faces. He really conveys so much emotion in all of them. It's not just that blanket expression, and like he's like the best dude ever at drawing sweat. I don't know if anybody had ever noticed that, but like so cool. I don't know. I was just really looking closely at this book because you're like, well, it's another one of those big Marvel crossovers, and how cool can it be? But I actually thought that this was really well done, and I'm super excited about the Phoenix Force coming back. So, it's going to be hard to avoid these books and hearing about them. But I recommend picking them and reading them because they're just awesome so far.
All right, last and certainly not least for me today is Saga #1. Another book that sold out last month.
There you go.
So in this one, new parents Marco and Alana risk everything to raise their child amidst the never-ending galactic war. But can they find a way out when everything around them is falling apart? Mm-hmm. Simply wonderful story here. Brian K. Vaughan is, as always, a great writer, and makes you really feel for these characters and their situation. And a lot of people have been bitching and moaning about this particular cover with the mother breastfeeding. Shut the F up.
I don't know what the deal is.
It's a natural process, even for an alien.
There's a second printing coming out next week. And I don't even know if they changed the cover, though.
I don't think they did, and they shouldn't.
I don't think they did.
And I don't see why anyone, especially professionals, artists who have bitched and moaned about this cover, why they are bitching and moaning about this cover.
Because they have nothing to complain about.
It's a natural process, people. Everyone, all women generally will do it.
But if you want to pick up a book with controversy.
Ooh, controversy.
Pick it up. Number 2 is coming out on Wednesday, too.
Number 2 is coming out next week. So you can pick up
the second printing of number 1 and number 2 on Wednesday.
This is a fantastic sci-fi fantasy story.
Yeah.
Great characters written by Brian K. Vaughan. And really beautiful art by Fiona Staple.
Yeah.
This is something you guys really need to go and check out if you haven't. It is simply wonderful and probably one of my picks for top book of the year.
Ooh. It's early in the year to be making such bets.
Yes, well, it's just that good.
Okay. Last for me is Age of Apocalypse number 2. So previously, reporter Harper Simmons was transported to a new world through a portal in Dark Beast's lab. And in this world, humans are a repressed minority ruled by the evil dictator known as Weapon Omega.
Woohoo!
Who is...
We love being oppressed.
Yeah, which is just Wolverine who's been infected by the Apocalypse Seed. Just to keep you up to date on... You're like, who? So Harper becomes a
Evil Wolverine.
Yeah, evil Wolverine. Yeah. So Harper becomes a revolutionary scribe who gains the favor of the Exterminated, a group of freedom fighters that are humans and mutants working together, who have become...
But not very well.
Yeah, so they become interested in where Harper has come from and like what that world might be like as opposed to the one they're in. And when Harper and the Exterminated reach the lab where he first appears, they're met by a resurrected Cyclops, who was formerly one of Apocalypse's most trusted lieutenants. So when we get to this issue, because I know that's a lot, one issue before that.
Yeah, and I'm the guy who had to read the last one.
Yeah, right? So catching up now. So now Trask and Moreau discuss Jean Grey's training, because she's lost her powers, but they're trying to prepare her for battle as a human, and because they think that she can contribute to everything that's going on because of all of her interpersonal relationships.
Yeah.
And the Exterminated battle Cyclops, narrowly escaping, and they must retrieve one of their own. Fiend provides valuable intel from Beast's mainframe, the discovery of which, the plan called Resurrection Agenda, could change the tide of the war, and, they have to rescue her too, because she's still behind enemy lines. Pardon me. I love this story. Great job by David Lapham. I've always been a sucker for these what-if Elseworlds kind of stories, and it's so cool to see characters that you love in a different light. I like that.
Anytime Lapham writes something, it's all generally good.
Yes. So. The only thing that holds this book back for me is the art. I'm really not a fan of...
Agreed. Since looking at the first one, it was pretty darn bad. Yes.
Yeah, I just don't like it. That's the only thing that's holding it back, because I think the story is just so cool. Like returning to sort of the whole Age of Apocalypse thing. Yep. But just my preference for art is not this. But otherwise, the story is so good, I can almost forgive it. At least at this point. Almost. I still have to read the next issue to see for sure. But I like where they're going generally, and I think this is going to be a really cool story.
All right. That's it for this week.
Don't forget to get your Muppet entries in.
Yep, exactly. Last week is the last week for entries, so be sure to get your entries in for the Muppet contest, and we will see you next week.